me anyway. Um, Anyway, I was having that sparked a memory I was having as I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" I was like, "Well, a lot of things, but a lot of it evolves around the gym." They're like, "Oh, it must be really easy for you to train then." I was like, well, I'm in the facility. You're correct, but
Yeah.
do you stay behind in your office to work on your own project? No, because you want to get out of there as soon as possible, right? It's the same in the gym. Like you've had enough. So it's actually really, really difficult to be able to train. And I'd love to hear your experience on that because we're at a totally
Yeah.
different level.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. I mean, I have a really hard time. Well, yeah, I'm lucky my schedule right now is pretty flexible, but if I had the choice of training after, let's say 5 hours of coaching or before it has to be like
Yeah.
5 hours and it's just done. Like I can't then all of a sudden turn it on and do my own warm up. And that's really tough unless I have to, and then I make it happen. But ideally training first or maybe like shorter amounts of coaching and then training, then go back or coach, leave, come back. It's a total reset of like, okay, even though it's the same place, like now it's training time, not working time. And so it does get hard. And of course, like too, if I'm there and I'm still can help people, and that has been difficult in the past. At the new gym I'm at right now, it's like way easier. People kind of keep to themselves. It's also less busy. I'm a little bit less involved. I'm newer at this gym, so people don't come to me for everything. But at another gym, I was there for about 12 years or 11-ish years, and everything was like, I could train, and like during a lift, people would be like, "Oh, like what's the Wi-Fi?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, like let me help you." But it's fine, it's fine. But it is nice to have a dedicated training time, and it feels like it rather than feeling like work and training. So I don't know, but we'll see how long that lasts. I don't know. It's all part of it.
Yeah, it's strange, right? Because as a coach, you want to be that person that can provide everything, right? And always be the
Yeah.
person to turn to. But then you've taken that hat off and you've placed it down, you put an athlete's hat on. And members don't see that. They don't
Yeah.
understand that because
But
most of
that's
them,
okay. Like, yeah, I'll never be the one to be like, "Oh, I'm training. Like, I'm not going to help you right now."
yeah,
So I would never do that. Absolutely would always. But I for the year where everything was shut down, it's getting more back to normal here. I don't know about where you are. Um, but it's nice to be around people again. It was a whole different vibe being by myself. So it's almost welcome now if someone talks to me. A
yes,
nice
yes,
change.
for sure. We've just been pushed into another lockdown.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We got I think we got a total of like 277 cases, but it started from one, and we got one
Wow.
case, and literally the whole country just went, right, midnight, we're all just gonna stay inside. Yeah, it was
Wow.
a bit bonkers.
Oh, yeah. But New Zealand, you're in New Zealand? Is that what you said?
Yes, I am.
You guys were like the one place that was doing so well, right?
See, this is the thing, right? Yes. But also there's a few factors that go involved in that. Like, we're in the middle of nowhere, literally in the middle of nowhere. Like it's 4 hours, I think, is the closest island, and that's Australia. Like 4 hours on a plane. Like I can go from home, i.e. the UK, to Turkey in 4 hours. You know what I mean? I can go all the way over
Oh,
to
wow.
like the bridge of Asia in 4 hours rather than just to the nearest island. So that's obviously got its benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just completely, like, everyone back at home in Europe were thinking, do we shut this down? Do we
Yeah.
not? Blah blah blah. And they were thinking about that for a while. And then obviously it started spreading. And plus the nature of Europeans, they're a very unruly bunch. You tell them to
Mm-hmm.
do something, they're probably going to give you the middle finger. And then over here, it seems like they trust the system a lot more. So they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
hey guys, we're going to stay inside for 4 weeks. They're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Yeah.
a different vibe. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of nice, but the northerner inside of me always second guesses everything. You know what I mean? I'm like, but what's your plan? But at the end of the day, it's not my decision. So who the fuck cares?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's all over the place here. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
But the thing is, like, people look at the States and are quick to judge, right? And it's such a large landmass. Like,
Mhm.
and there's so many people and there's so much diversity on one piece of land. Like, you
Yeah.
are fighting a losing battle.
Yeah. And you can't keep them anywhere.
No.
Everyone has the ability, pretty much almost everyone has the ability to just go where they want
Yeah.
and do what they want. And so that's hard. But,
Yeah, it makes coaching pretty difficult through the whole, like, coaching through Zoom and all that nonsense.
yeah.
Um
Yeah.
how did you find that for practically a year?
I was doing online. So for the gym I worked for, right at the beginning, they just decided, okay, we're going to do 2 virtual classes a day. And that's when everything was shut down. So it was almost a nice way to see people again. And it was surprising to me how well it worked and how easy it was for me to coach on Zoom. So in a way, it's opened up some more doors for me. So I'm still doing that, even though most places are back in person, whether it's masked or not, or in a zone. Every gym has its own rules and regulations, or it's outside or not. But I'm still running some online classes with some people because it's just easier. I moved away. They lived in different cities where, like, traffic, like, it would be too much to go to one place. So it's actually worked out well that I'm still doing online classes. So I have some in person, some online, but it's one of the small positives is that it opened up that door. Like, previously they would have been like, no, you won't be able to see me online. Like, you're not going to be able to see, like, what the right angle or what I'm doing wrong, or able to help me, or what if the internet goes out. It was just like, it was what it was and it worked. And so now it's a new option. So that's pretty nice, like, to
Yeah.
have adapted that into a routine.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, being able to, and especially you can, like, earn more money and being in one spot. You've only got 24 hours in a
Yeah.
day, and
Right.
travel is a bitch
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So
Yeah.
being able to put more pennies in your pocket is always a positive when it comes to the fitness industry. It's pretty rough sometimes.
Yeah. And, like, I didn't personally, but I know a lot of people, like, their remote just programming just blew up. They can all of a sudden write this program and have people do it at home. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a great opportunity for, I know people got in there really early and it was huge. So that's good. I think it's a good thing. Expanded the fitness industry almost.
Yeah, and, like, you hone a different set of skills, right? Like, you kind of hone your verbal skills a lot more, because what can I demo on this tiny little screen? Like, not a lot. So it's like, all
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna have to be really, did that spark a memory?
Yeah. Well, I was teaching from my bed, which is, like, really
Brilliant.
not ideal. Not ideal. I'm like, I was in, like, a floor section next to my bed, about, I don't know, like, not, like, I couldn't reach my arms out.
Yeah.
So everything was either sideways, or, like, I found ways, or, like you said, verbal. Like, I already was, like, pretty good at that, but, like, really honing it up, like, okay. And I can very well, like, mirror somebody and know, like, quickly if it's the right arm, left arm, like, on a screen, which I have a background in ice skating, and with ice skating came ballet. And so having to mirror that often, that helped a lot. But there would be times for sure I'd be, like, trying to stand up and it's, like, just the screen here and it's just my legs and I'm standing on a bed. It's just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
/ kind of looks inappropriate, but it's okay. It was fine.
Yeah, it's funny. You stand up like, oh, I want you to do this, and it's basically just zoomed in on your crotch, and you're like,
Exactly.
it's probably not the best thing to do here. It's like, how am I going to demo a squat sitting down?
Exactly. So yeah, challenges, but it was fun. It only led to growth.
Yeah, that's true. We have to be able to skin the cat in many ways and use different tools. So yeah, definitely, like, using voice a lot more than than demos.
Exactly. Yeah, these times, like, I can't imagine me laying down. But everyone had a good time.
That's it. That's,
Yeah.
goal number one is to have fun, right? And
Right.
if it's at your expense of just looking like a bit of a tool, then it's goal number one accomplished.
I had to demonstrate a handstand, some kind of handstand something. And I was like, okay, well, if they can only see my top half, I'm going to put my computer on the ground. I'll fold over my bed. And then I fell off.
Brilliant.
Yeah. That's good times. Yeah.
Guys, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do it a lot more gracefully than I did.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I had to adapt, but it was all good. And everybody was like, had a positive, like, it was positive for everyone. I think some people, the kind of twisted part, I had one of my friends, he was like, well, it's so nice seeing everybody on the screen. This is like when everything was very locked down. And he's like, but it's like a sense of loneliness when we log off. He's like, it's so normal and it feels so good to see everyone and have this like sense of normality. And then like all it takes is a click of one button and then like you're back into your like whatever it was, small apartment, small room, and just like by yourself. And so that was kind of a sadder twist on things, but temporary for us, temporary. So hopefully things get back.
It's definitely a weird one, right? Like you take social interaction as for granted. I'm naturally an introvert as it is anyway, so I didn't think I'd really give a shit, and for most of the part I don't, because I just do my thing. I'm quite quiet as a natural individual. However, if people just don't talk to you and you just don't see people for a long time, it starts like playing on you, like, whoa, hold on a minute, am I like the only one here? Am I Will Smith and I'm Legend? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. I can't imagine the people who have been isolated for this whole time. I've been lucky. I live in a place where it's warm outside for the majority of the year. So much of like this area has adapted to outdoor. So there's more outdoor events and things where it feels safer. Things opened up a lot more. So hopefully lucky to have that back.
Yeah, for sure. Like here, for example, right now is we're technically in winter, right? And it reached 21 degrees, which Celsius, not Fahrenheit. That would be fucking freezing. Celsius, which obviously is nothing for you over in California. But again, I'm northern, so 21 degrees is I'm dying. Like it's too hot. And this is winter. So we're like super lucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys did restaurants add like outdoor seating and parking lots and stuff?
Nah, so basically they've shut everything down outside of essential services. So literally like McDonald's has gone down, like everything is just completely ghost town. It's really, really weird.
Wow. And they didn't tell you for how long, just until
they did I think initially they did like 5 days, then they extended it to a week. And then they extended it to like 10, 11 days. And I think we find out today what they're going to do with it. But they're kind of lucky because there's 2 islands, right? And I'm in the South Island. And down here, there's less than 1 million people on the entire island.
Wow.
There is no one here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you grow up there?
No, I'm from Manchester.
Okay. When did you move?
Coming up, what are we? August. Coming up to 2 years. Like I was, I want to say November time, 2019.
Oh, wow. So that's not that long. And that's a lot of it being in COVID time.
Yeah. So I moved to Auckland, which is the north of the North Island. Stayed there for about 4 or 5 months. And then traveled the country. Basically, couple shit happened. I got fired twice. So I was like, right, you know what? Fuck you all. I'm just going to live in the car and drive around as you normally do. Or as I do, like very introverted. Just see the world, you know.
Cool.
And then ended up moving down here. And 2 weeks later, they were like, right, you can't get out of your house. It's like, oh
Wow.
shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what brought you to New Zealand initially from
Honestly,
England?
try and create a better life for my family, and also in turn myself. A lot of, well, all of my family has always just been in Manchester, which is the northwest of England. Like, if you go all the way back, there's probably one branch out of me mam's side that goes to like Europe. But other than that, it's Manchester until the fucking Vikings came over, as you can probably tell with the blonde hair and blue eyes. Yeah, it's literally like no one leaves. It's very, blue collar and all that type of stuff. So, me little sisters were going through something at the time, and what can I do when I'm quite a lot older than them, like 10 and 8 years older than them. And at that stage, I can't really do much. They've got a lot of growing up to do by themselves. So giving back to them basically meant leaving. So, I'm over here trying to build something.
Yeah. And it shows them, like there's more.
Exactly.
You can do more. Yeah, that's great. That's cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, cool. It's been a journey, but it's definitely one of the greatest things I've ever done.
That's 100%. Great.
Just got on a plane and flew to a faraway land.
And why did you pick Auckland, or first Auckland? And
then I got Auckland because I got a job offer.
Oh, okay. Basically. Well, that's
good. Yeah, I applied everywhere. Like I finished up at a gym in the south of the UK. I was spent there about 3 years there, and it naturally just came to a close. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to leave in good terms rather than on bad terms, because I absolutely adore the place and the people. I've got a lot of respect for it, so I didn't want to, build any animosity towards it. And then I just sent my CV everywhere. I was like, hey, this is who I am, what I've done. Anyone want to like give me a job?
Yeah.
And I got a Skype interview maybe 5 days later with a guy in Auckland. And then 10 days after that, I was in New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, no time better than the present. Like, just do it. That's great.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Strange.
I get that. Strange, scary, but that's great. You made that leap.
Yeah, I find like if you think about it too much in terms of those big things, right? You'll end up doubting yourself and second guessing yourself. Like, something inside of you or something inside of me told me that last gym was come to a close. So that is the decision already made. Before I even handed in my notice, is like, no, that's the decision made. I was like, okay, cool. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go home, or are you gonna pop off around the world? And again, like home, I got a couple come back to me, but it was like, we can give you like some hours, but it's going to be on the other side of the city and all that type of stuff. And I was like, well, it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
Kind of just posted it out there, right?
Yeah, that's the way I see things too. That's good. That's similar. I kind of did that on a much smaller scale. I moved an hour away.
Hey, that's still moving,
Hour 15 away, but yeah, that's something else.
It's the same distance, practically. Give or take a couple meters.
But yeah, I think that's what's great. And sometimes it's what's needed, something new.
Yes.
A new adventure, and it can always be changed again. If you don't like it, then there's something else.
Yes. I'm all about the stories too, right? I've always thought about being that old guy who has like stories about everything. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, is that true? Did he actually do that, or is he bullshitting me? And they'll never know, but at least you'll know it's some crazy stuff he did.
Yeah, I like that. So you can't have them without building or doing stuff where you're going to be put into situations to have stories. That's great.
Exactly. Just get on a plane. It is, it's definitely a growing experience. And in terms of like experiencing new culture too, I think it's it's absolutely paramount for people.
Yeah.
You know, we live in a very judgmental world. Everyone believes they know you because they see you on the internet, and I just want to punch them in the fucking face. I'm like, you don't know anything about them. You know what I mean? Like, you see their face on the internet. Congratulations, like, you know what they look like, but you don't know it. Like, it's difficult. You know, everyone wants to judge people.
That's true. That's true. That's funny. I've never really thought of it like that though. Huh.
Like, yeah. Well, I'm an introverted guy, and I think a lot.
I think of it, I don't know. Almost, for me personally, like with social media, like I can choose to put what I want on there.
Yep.
And I choose to not necessarily put that much.
Yep.
Partially a choice, partially I just don't like, I don't have, I don't know, I guess I have the time, but like if I had my phone on all the time and like, it would take a lot of time. It would take me out of also the presence. I don't know, I have a lot of stuff to do that I don't want to be holding a camera up the whole time. I don't necessarily feel comfortable also like talking to like the front facing camera, like, and doing whatever I'm doing at the same time. Like maybe one day, maybe. Right now, I don't. But it also then also preserves still like my life separate from whatever I choose to put on social media. Sometimes I feel like there should be like an in between, like maybe I should share more. But I don't. So I don't know. We'll see. But that's an interesting thing. It's just like somebody might think that they know me, but they really maybe don't, because I don't choose to put more of myself onto the internet yet. This is probably more than I normally would, for sure. Like these podcasts, but then, you know, if somebody wants to listen to it and they can hear more of me talk, because I almost never talk on Instagram. Mostly because the things that come out of my mouth aren't like real sentences usually. But which is, I don't know, we'll see.
But that's
like I've never say never, but like at the moment, that's just something that I don't do.
Well, I'm very grateful for a conversation.
I'll talk to, the other thing is I'll talk to anybody, but like, it feels like a weird, empty, like if I'm going to talk to my phone, like, who am I talking to? I don't know. And that's a strange thing to me.
I can understand that. I really can. Because, for example, the conversation we're having now, right? I see it as you and I having a conversation. And I, you know, inevitably I will, whenever it's done, I'll click stop and it will kind of go whatever on this thing that we call the internet, right? And my brain doesn't link this conversation to someone is then going to put their earphones in and listen to it. It's very, very strange because I'm the one who's doing it. Maybe because I'm blonde and I'm not the smartest of individuals. But yeah, I don't get it. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that's just naturally talking, you know? But I think it's a beautiful thing. Like, we get to share experiences and knowledge and lessons, and you take a dip into someone else's reality through a conversation. And I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah. So that is the interesting part too. Like, I will watch other people's stories and I love like hearing them talk and share their stories, but yet I don't do it. I don't know. Maybe I will one day. I don't know.
You don't have to, you know, that's just the way you want to live your life. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
And something like leading off the point of, you said, people think they know you because they might watch some videos of you lifting on social media or whatever, and then, you know, they don't truly know you. Something that I think about is no one truly knows you because everyone sees a different version of you. And the only person that sees every version of you is actually yourself. So you're the only person who knows every version of you, if you know what I mean. Like, we all wear masks, we all wear hats.
Yeah.
Whatever metaphor you want to use. It's very, very strange thinking about it. You're like, well, I'm just one person. I'm like, yes, but to 100 people, you might be 100 different versions of that one person.
Totally. Yeah. That is very true. And then you could take it another step. Like, do you even know? Like, because some people aren't like aware of that. Or do they know themselves? Like, huh. You've had a lot of time to think.
Yeah. See, this is what I do. I'm a thinker, you know. I like to an ideal day would obviously outside of training would be like a lot of coffee, like a beautiful view, and just like a lot of thinking, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to write things down.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think it's really great.
That's where my mind goes anyway.
Huh. I like that.
Well, you've got to.
I don't do that, but I like that.
Well, the thing is, you know, the crazies in the world need to do some extreme things to keep themselves somewhat level, right? And sometimes that's sitting on a rock and writing some things.
I don't know what it says about me. I like to distract myself. I don't know. I like to be outside of my world.
Oh,
TV, nice. It's like, okay, movies. When I get into it, I'll get into it, but like I can't necessarily, like, there's a bunch of stuff lately, like it's on and I'm like, But TikTok, that always gets me.
Yeah.
Like, I can mindlessly, and then if something's like, and it's crazy, it is like, that definitely blows my mind. It's like how much content can be absorbed and passed through so quickly. It's so many different things and different people around the world and different types of content. It could be a dancing, it could be something funny, it could be a baby, it could be a dog, like other animals, like, and it blows my mind like how the algorithm or whatever it is, it shows you based on like what you spend a few more seconds watching than the other things. That's crazy to me. But I mean, just the amount of things that can go through so quickly in front of me, that's blows my mind, but also like absorbs me, but also takes me out of reality, but also calms me. It's strange. It's super strange.
TikTok is a fucking weird one because it's so addictive.
It is. It is. Yet it's so calming. I don't know if that's the right word, but it just like, it definitely gives me like a sense of like, I don't know if peace is the right word, but it settles everything. I zone out, I guess. And it's like almost like a restorative thing. That's strange.
Well, you're a coach, right? So you got the responsibility of a lot of people. And then also you're an athlete. So you have a lot of weight on your shoulders, literally and figuratively. That was not meant to be. That was just came out. So taking like a dip out of that reality and literally just watching other people and be like, they don't know who I am. I don't need to be anyone right now. No one needs anything from me. No one wants anything from me. And I can just scroll through on these 20-second things. Like that can be like quite restoring.
Yeah. I should probably do some yoga, but I don't know. I can do it at the same time too, probably.
Well, you can. It's whether you will.
I probably won't.
You know, I'm gonna watch a Joe Rogan podcast. Or I'm gonna watch my whatever on thingy, and I'll do some mobility. And then the next thing you know, you're just like sprawled across the floor or the couch. And you're watching it like a monk, and you're like, oh yeah, this will do.
Right, exactly. But that's my recovery.
I lie on the foam roller. I'm like, okay, this is it.
That's an extra step.
Exactly.
Mine's over there staring at me, but I don't go over there.
You know where it is.
Oh, I can see it right now.
So if you can see it, it's working. Yeah. That's it.
It's right there. That means I took it out once.
Oh, that does. That's true.
One time. It's right there. The hypervolt's over there. It's charging. It's ready. It stays over there.
Do you use those like Theragun things?
Yeah.
Do you like them?
I do. I don't know if I would have bought one. I won it through a competition. So that was like probably one of the best things I've won. Um, it does help, but like the really areas that I need it, it's like really difficult. Like you're kind of like holding it by its edge and it's like trying to like push it against the couch. But otherwise, yeah, like it helps. If I really need it, yeah, I'll get it, especially into my shoulders. Like this is like a really big problem area and that's really helpful. So yeah, I like it. It's definitely, for me compared to a foam roller, it gets a lot more like specific in spots. Like foam roller, I'll use mostly for my back of just like a general, like get a bunch of like cracks out if I roll over it a few times and open my arms up. But the Theragun really gets into more places I really need. But
Yeah, I agree. I think it's got its time and place. But I come from more of a therapist too, right? So I used to beat the shit out of people for a living. Now not so much, but if people need fixing up, I'll fix them up.
Oh.
Yeah. So sports therapist, not an actual counselor.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not like people come in and like, I'm an alcoholic and I punch them in the face. It's like, no, like they're on the table. I give them some manipulations, And,
yeah, no, if I could do that like regularly, that'd be ideal.
But, yeah, I come in from that perspective. I'm like, nothing's gonna replace my elbow, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But at the same time,
absolutely.
It's like self-therapy. Because going to a clinic and getting treated on is fucking expensive. And that's coming from someone who used to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, it's expensive. Yeah. Like, don't come every week. Like, if you come every week, you're absolutely raking in money, and I'm probably taking advantage of that. So I wouldn't do it. But yeah, the Theragun's a good little. I think it's good for a little warm-up piece if you want to be lazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think yes, that too. There were like times where I had to like drive pretty far before training, and like I'll use it in the car. It's probably not super safe, but yeah. And then I have like the ball too, the little hypervolt ball. Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah, I've never used that one. Is it good?
Yeah, so then I'll drive with it like behind my shoulder, so it's like vibrating behind there or behind my hip. And so that one, if I have long drives, I'll use that. So those are.
Stopping at a red light and you've got literally just got this Theragun with a big ball on the end of it, like in your shoulder. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
I've definitely done that. Definitely.
Don't worry, it's weightlifting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Shit we do. It's like you're looking at any weightlifter's bag. It's basically a pharmacist. Like, what is that? It's like, why is there so much ibuprofen and paracetamol? You're like, hey, don't look at that.
Oh my gosh, that'd be like a crazy thing. I carry a giant bag because, like, I don't know, things just keep going in and just keep going in. And it's not even my gym bag. I have that plus my gym bag, but it has like, I think there's at least one lacrosse ball, maybe 3 bands. There's some CBD, like cream, some tape. There's just so much stuff in there. Like that'd be crazy.
I fucking love CBD. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Do you like the oils or like creams?
I've never had the cream. I've only had the oil.
Okay.
But it's illegal here.
Oh.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I'm like, what? So yeah, I used it back home. Obviously, don't use it here because I can't buy it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I used it back home. I was struggling with a bit of like insomnia at the time. I was working fucking all the time, and then obviously you're trying to train as well, and your body's just on like survival gear. And that is the only thing that made me go to sleep. I've tried magnesium, really? I tried everything, you know what I mean? And CBD was the only thing. And then my joints too, help my joints.
That's good. I haven't found one that works. I've only tried like a few, and they didn't really work, or they made my stomach hurt, and so I stopped. And then, or I didn't trust it because we get tested, and I was like, I don't want to chance it. There's been a few people that they're like, well, the company wouldn't give us the whole breakdown of the ingredients and things like that. And so I was like, if I don't need it, then I'm not going to use it. But sometimes, I don't know, people just give me stuff sometimes. So like that sports cream is from somebody. It smells really strong, but it's like in case something really hurts, then I'll like try it and then see. But
Mm.
Otherwise, it just lives in my bag.
Well, I mean, I think every gym bag I've ever owned has had this. I'm looking over; it's on my bookshelf right now. Don't ask why it's on the bookshelf. All right, but it's there. I've got that like Voltaren gel.
Okay, yeah.
You know that gel that basically makes you feel superhuman.
Is it like cold? Like a
Nah, it's
no?
basically like laced with like paracetamol. So
Oh,
it's supposed to, kill some pain. Um, yeah, I've got a story behind that. Like I used to play rugby, right? Back in the day, and I had a really serious head and neck injury. But we were playing in a national tournament at the time, so I take 4 weeks out rather than, 4, 5, 6 months out. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, I'm all good. And obviously, I'm not. My neck was absolutely fucked up at the time, and I'd go through half a tub of that in a game. Literally, just lace me up. I would feel
wow.
on top of the world. You know what I mean? And then would play ball. Yeah, it was not. It
Oh
was not a
God.
wise decision. If anyone young is listening to this, do not do that. Like, that's not
Yeah,
wise.
no. What are the lingering effects? Like, do you still have neck and head things? Do you have to be
Um,
careful?
yes. So my neck is pretty good now. I saw a good mate of mine who's a very, very talented chiropractor, and
Mm.
basically said my C1 was fused into my skull.
Oh.
It was just absolutely jammed in there, and
From
gave me some,
impact?
yeah, a lot of head on stuff. And then my memory is really, really bad um,
Oh,
from all the concussions.
I'm sorry.
It's these things happen.
Yeah. In Santa Barbara, I lived there for a while. These girls were trying to get me to do rugby, and I I don't run. I'm bad at running. I can't catch a ball. Like instead of like catching it, I'll dodge it. Like if you throw
Nice.
something at me, like I'm like no, I can't throw it. It's not gonna go the right place. I was like, what would I be good for? Like, they're like, well, you're strong. I'm like, I don't want to get hit. I don't want to hit anyone. I can't catch. I can't throw. I can't run. It seems like the worst sport for me. No. They're like, but you'd be so good. I'm like, no. I pick things up and I
Yep.
put them down and then I
Yep.
sit down. I don't run.
Yep. Weightlifting is definitely a better option.
Yeah,
Especially with those skill sets or not those skill sets.
exactly.
Yeah.
I found what I was made for. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
It's definitely a fun time. Like it's such an incredible sport. Like I am obviously biased, right? And it's weird as a spectator and if you've not played, because we've got two codes, right? We've got rugby union and rugby league. And you're like, well, what's the difference? You're like, well, they're both rugby, but there's a lot of difference. There's the league's got 13 men, reunion's got 15. The whole structure's different. They play for 80 minutes, both of them, yeah, granted, but like it's a lot different.
Huh.
So you're like, well, what's the point? But fun fact with Alex, I guess. Rugby union was only played in private and grammar schools
Huh.
in England, right? So the workers used to get a half day on a Wednesday, and that was obviously all the working class people. So to give a bit of a V's to the posh boys, they created a different code of rugby and called it rugby league, and all the workers would play rugby league because they didn't go to school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Wait, so then are like in the US, are there still both of those leagues? Or is it just like
As,
rugby league?
as far as I'm aware, in the US you play both codes. However, the World Cup is predominantly like the biggest World Cup is rugby union. So you'll probably have more teams over there playing rugby union.
And what about women? Does women have both?
Yeah, they have both. Yeah. Yeah. And then
I
in
had
the
no
Olympics,
idea.
you've got like rugby sevens, which is union. However, there's 7 people on the pitch. and each half lasts 7 minutes, and there's 1 minute rest in between. Like that is absolutely horrendous. Like it's fucked up.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, it's 14 minutes of sprinting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's not a sprint time. Wow.
It's
that's long.
Disgusting. Basically, if say for example, like we're on opposite teams and we're in the center of the pitch and you run at me and I miss the tackle and you go through me, obviously, then you're pretty much guaranteed to sprint the other half of the pitch and score a try, unless someone is going to sprint all the way back and catch you. So it's like if you miss a tackle, that's it. It's a try, pretty much. Yeah, it's not fun. I'm like you. I like to sit down between sets. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man.
Anything over 3 reps is a no for me.
It's so hard. That's really hard. I've had that lately. I've had like 3 cleans and 2 jerks, and it's so hard. That's tough. But then I realized like I've done a little bit more CrossFit lately after nationals, just doing a little bit of conditioning here and there, working out with people, which is nice. And it's like, I definitely have this limit of like 40 seconds, like 40 seconds to a minute of like high intensity. And I can do pretty well, but then after it tanks, like I can't maintain, nor do I want to, but I can't. That's, and yes, I feel like I can do like, I could run if I wanted to, but it'd be like a very short, like 100 meters, like max. Or one big push on the rower and that's it. And then no more. But that's okay. I'm just a sprint athlete, a very short sprinter, explosive and very short.
Did you do CrossFit before doing weightlifting?
Yeah, and I really did not like that uncomfortable feeling of I hated it. Like running, rowing, assault bike, wall balls, because it's never 5 wall balls at a time.
Yeah,
no, it's like 100. I can't, and it's like, so I did best at those very short workouts. Where it's like a little bit of reps and like moving just consistent, but keeping things short. That's what I did best. I did it a long time, 2008 to 2018.
Wow.
That's a long time to not go anywhere. I'll tell you that. Didn't go anywhere.
Did you want to like go compete?
Yeah, it just, I wasn't really in a competitive area. That's for sure. Like there wasn't, a lot to push me, not that I needed that, but like every time like I like did something or got a little better, I was like, oh wow. But I didn't have like those people being like, oh well, like I can do that because that girl's doing it, I want to do that too. Which I think that's hard. I think I could have done better if I was in like another environment where there were people better than me and doing these things I could aspire to do. I mean, it was fine. It was great, like where I was, but only in the last year, so 2017 to 2018, a few of the local gyms that had like a good girl and a good guy at each gym, we decided to come together and train together as a team. And then I also that was tough and it kind of fell apart towards the end, but we almost made it to regionals. And then at that time too, regionals was at the same exact weekend as weightlifting nationals. And that was the same year that I decided to do weightlifting. And so at that point I was like, okay, now like I'm way better at weightlifting. I don't enjoy doing these long endurance workouts. I don't enjoy that kind of pain either. So I was going to choose, I competed for the team, but then was going to choose weightlifting and not do regionals had they made it, but we didn't make it anyways. And then from there on, it was just weightlifting. But,
yeah, like
I just didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know weightlifting was a possibility. That whole, like, you would think 10 years of CrossFit that I would like have some kind of like exposure or somebody be like, hey, maybe you should do this. No idea.
Wow.
Didn't occur to me that it was something
I love the fact that the growth and the birth of CrossFit has now like massively increased the participation of Olympic weightlifting. Like I absolutely throw that. Like I think that's awesome, right? Like just people
Yeah.
like jumping in between, and now gymnastics too. Like for example, I'll use the UK for example. Gymnastics is like you'll be really hard fetched to find a gymnastics gym. You'd be like, well, where is it? What do you do? And then the whole mindset, especially the North, like I can't really talk about the South. I didn't grow up there, but the North, you would think about it. Oh, you're a guy and you do gymnastics. You know what I mean? You'd get one of those, but now you're seeing these incredible people doing these incredible things, and you're just like, holy shit, what is that? It's like, well, technically, that's gymnastics. You're like, wow, okay, let's go do that. You're like, well, technically, that's weightlifting or powerlifting or whatever. That's a conditioning workout. A conditioning workout. What does that mean? You know, and you don't just have to go on the treadmill and go on an incline or do a fasted cardio or whatever the fuck it is. It's like, do you want to do that? Yeah, cool, go do it. But do you want to do this other side? Like, yes, you can do that now. And I think it's really beautiful to be able to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why I did do it for so long. And like, I was content. It was never something in my head that was like, oh, like I want to go to CrossFit Games and that's why I'm doing this. It was always for fitness. It was always because like, I didn't want to just run on the treadmill. And like, I had done circuit training at a regular gym with machines and I hated it. It was so boring. So being able to go to this place where somebody tells me what to do and it's hard and it's rewarding afterwards, and the variety and then the skill sets too of always being able to be like, okay, like I can do double unders. Well, oh, there's something called triple unders. Like, oh, I can do that now. Or there's those muscle ups and like, I want to be able to do that. And I don't think I can ever do that, but now I eventually did. So all of that is like very much the rewarding and why I did it. And did it for so long until I realized, it took this woman. She was a weightlifter. She is a weightlifter, and she couldn't go to her gym. She came to the gym I was at, and she was like, "Hey, like, just for fun, go home and look at the qualifying totals for nationals." I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, I just never thought, like in my head, Olympic weightlifting, it's like this competitive sport where you have to be in it from a child. Like I come from figure skating, and figure skating, that's how it is. Like if you don't start when you're 3 or 5, between those ages, then like you're not going anywhere. You like can't pick it up as an adult and go anywhere. And so I just assumed all high level sports are like that. And so then I went home, I looked at the totals and I was like, oh, like I can do that. And so she was like, what if you tried it? And I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then I tried it and I was like, I don't know about this. Then she's like, no, give it another chance. And I was like, okay, I'll give it another chance. And then I made it to nationals and went from there. And then I didn't have a coach though. And it was like kind of this year or summer. And that's the summer that I was like, okay, no, I'm going to do CrossFit, and like kind of half-ass look for a coach. And then literally it fell just into place. Max Ada, he happened to do a seminar at the gym I was at, which is super strange because I was like, why? I thought it was a joke. And the gym owners thought it was a joke too. They thought it was like some spam message that they got from Max Ada training being like, we want to do a seminar at your gym. They're like, what? So they didn't tell me at first because they're like, this isn't going to actually go through. This is going to fall through. This is like not a real thing, until it finally happened. And all of a sudden he was at the gym and I was like, hey, like, actually the gym owner was like, she doesn't have a coach. She went to nationals. And then it kind of just went from there. And he told me, he was like, do you want to, like, here's my email, or let me get your email and we'll contact you and we'll see. And then they invited me out to this training camp. And I thought that was like a tryout for the team. And that's been a whole running joke this whole time, because they've told me this whole time it's a tryout for the last few years. Just like, so pretty much every time I see them, they're like, oh, you can stay on the team, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, just won nationals. They're like, I guess you can stay on the team for now.
Yeah.
Like, but
still feeling it out.
Yeah, everything is kind of crazy how it just fell into place. Like, I couldn't really find a coach, or started doing CrossFit again. And then he just happened to be there, and it just timing worked out really well. And so I've been working with him ever since. And that's how I got into weightlifting, which was not normal, I guess. I do wish at some point somebody earlier had said like, hey, maybe you should try this, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's meant to be, right? It seemed like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I
And
love
it's been
Max. I
great.
think he's brilliant.
He is.
I think he's
really
absolutely
great.
awesome.
He has changed my form completely, and it's so much better than it used to be. And it's fun, and he's fun to work with.
Yeah, it's funny, like having a CrossFit hat on and then a weightlifting hat on, because the CrossFit hat on, you're thinking of the entire complex, right? Or you're thinking about the 10 reps, or you're thinking about whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're not thinking at all because it hurts so much. Which is great, right? But then when you're like, right, you got weightlifting hat on, you're thinking about every minor detail possible, because fractions is kilos, and you want to be able to lift the maximum amount of kilos you can. Yeah, it's definitely funny. Like, I've coached weightlifting in a CrossFit gym after a CrossFit class, and I've had individuals in the CrossFit class, and now I'm just like, well, now you're no longer CrossFitters. Now you are weightlifters. It's like, you've just done a set. I was like, yeah, this isn't a fucking EMOM. Go sit down.
Right. Yeah, or like they do the set just to do it. Like, I did it. But it's like the focus isn't as much on how it was done. And that is a big mindset shift. And it takes time. It definitely takes time, but I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot, is working with CrossFitters that want to get better at weightlifting.
Yes.
But it is hard to get them to kind of like, or they get frustrated. They're like, I'm thinking about so many things. That's just part of it. And that's why it's a whole different sport. And like, people are like, oh, you're so good at snatching. I do it every day.
Yeah.
I do it every day that I train. And there are all these cues. Like, that's how it was at the beginning too, like a million different things. And then eventually, like, it narrows down to less and less the more that you do it, and the more that becomes muscle memory. But then I still have to think of a million things too. And through every lift, it's not, I think through every lift, empty barbell, everything. There is no mindless training. Yeah, ever. Which is, I think, a shift. Right? Yeah, I think that's a change from CrossFit. CrossFit is just like, okay, let me actually zone out because it hurts so bad. And I have to do 50 reps over my head. Like, let me zone out. Let me not think. I don't want to think about this. That is a big shift I never thought about. Yeah.
I like it. I like that. Like, there's always a way of improving the lift. You know what I mean? That's definitely where I sit. I'm definitely on the same page as you with that, rather than like, I'm just going to kick the shit out of myself. I'm going to rest 2 minutes. I'm going to go again.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yes, like there's like time and a place for that. But that just like methodical, you're coming in, what we're doing, snatch again. Like, there's always ways of like improving, even if it's a pull, even if it's on an accessory movement. Like, that little like degrees of detail is what like lights me up.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, I think coming from, so ice skating taught me a lot, and it was almost like, now that I think about it, it was almost a mix of the two. The skills are so like fine-tuned, you have to think, but I didn't. And I would beat myself up in a similar way to like a CrossFit workout, of like, I would just beat something to the ground, and if it happened, it happened. But most, like, if I would sometimes get into the spiral of like, almost like if you miss a lift and you just keep missing and missing and missing and missing, you don't stop, and you don't think, and you don't change anything, and you don't actually take a second to like reset and focus. Like, I would do that on the ice, and I would just go round and around and around, and do a jump, miss, do a jump, miss. And that's like painful too. Like, you are beating yourself up. The ice is not soft. So like, you're falling, or maybe you hit the wall, or different things like that. And just over and over again, getting these cycles without thinking. But it is a skill that you really should, like, I should have been thinking on. And going through years of that taught me, though, to not do that in weightlifting, in a sense. or CrossFit. But in the same sense, like I enjoyed that sport because it was high skill and there's always something to get better and there's always something to learn and do more. And there's always people doing more and more and more. And so in the same way, weightlifting is the same, or in CrossFit too, where there's these skills that you need to master. And so I think that was why my natural progression went from ice skating to CrossFit, like really enjoying that mastering of different skills, and then weightlifting of fine tuning these skills and getting better at them and lifting more and more weights. So I don't know what else will be next, but I don't know what else there's like that.
Well, I think you're doing pretty fucking well at the moment, mate.
Thank you. Thank you. Still getting better. So,
but that's the thing, right? Like, I remember the first thing I was ever told about weightlifting is you'll always be shit at weightlifting. Full stop. And then once you like realize that, now you can actually improve, because you could do the most, you know, I'll use the term perfect, like nothing in life's perfect, right? We're organic, so we can't be perfect, but I'll use the term perfect. You could do the most perfect lift, but you can always add another kilo to it.
Yeah.
And that will exponentially go higher. You know, you'll never tap that out. So it's like, well, I'll never be able to like complete this. So it's for some athletes that will get in their mind and they're like, no, I don't like this. Like I'm out. You know, but that like constant pursuit of just progress is, I don't know, that gets me out of the bed. That fires me up.
Yeah. So people ask me, what's next? How long will you do it for? And it's never been like, oh, I'll stop when I like can lift this much weight. It's more so I'll stop when my body breaks down. We'll see. Like I think it hit a point in skating where I couldn't do it anymore. I don't know if we'll hit that point in weightlifting or not. We'll see, but it hasn't yet. I'll keep going. Soon I'll be a master soon. So that's a whole nother. That'll be a whole thing. I just look young, but that'll be a fun thing. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, like
Masters Worlds are like always in a fun location as opposed to our nationals. It's not always fun.
Why?
I don't know. They keep picking places that aren't like ideal destinations for like a trip. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but yeah.
I guess
but Masters like Worlds is in Japan next year. It's been in New Zealand before. It's been in Spain. That's fun. Yeah.
I used to coach under a Masters weightlifter. Like that's how I kind of got into the whole coaching scene in the weightlifting side. Is she used to come in and coach, and then I would like, you know, help out, be the demo boy, basically the bitch boy. And yeah, like kind of learn through proxy really, and underneath her, and then went to go do the courses and all that type of stuff. But that was a really cool experience, being able to be around that type of person, to be able to coach and watch how they move, and then also to like see what it's like on the masters side, because it's different, right?
Yeah. As I get closer to that master's age, it doesn't feel as different. But there are some athletes at the gym I coach at that are really in there. They're like in that 40s to 50s range, but they're still doing it. And it is different. They have potentially years of injuries or years of being sedentary, losing mobility, and then getting into it. So then they're working against all that. Like in some ways I was lucky. I went straight from one sport to another sport to another sport. There was no stop through college, through everything. And so I've lost some mobility over the years, definitely from like not doing extreme stretching, but like I don't have these years where I just didn't do anything. But most people do. Or most people coming into maybe CrossFit later or weightlifting later, they do have a time where they weren't working out or moving or going into a full squat position. And so that's definitely an interesting thing to work with that I enjoy though. I enjoy that challenge of how can we make you better? But then you have to have the athlete, like they have to put in the work as well to work on those things. which is tough.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's a never ending battle, right? Like you can't just walk in and be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this now. It's like, no. And then tomorrow you're going to have to do it the next day. And then you're going to have to do some things at home and
Right.
probably going to need to change the way you live. And yeah, it gets tough.
It is. Yeah. And then there's, real life work and whatever it is that people have to deal with that makes it difficult to just like, it's rare to have a full-time athlete that I'm working with. So that's all part of it. That's why it has to be enjoyable though. I feel like it has to be something that you enjoy and you want to do and you want to be better at, and be realistic with where you are and what you need to do. And if you want to be better, then to do these things and stuff.
It's a lifestyle, right? Rather than, you're doing it for a reason, not a season.
Yeah. At a certain point. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, miss.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. I know you don't like kind of talking, so
no,
I appreciate it.
I don't mind talking to somebody. Like you said, it's just like a conversation with somebody, but like talking to like talking to my phone is weird.
Yeah.
Talking to my phone and seeing myself back and putting it into the world and like having that be the intention is harder for me. It takes so many takes. If when, which is pretty rare. I don't know. Actually, I've done this recently. I was supposed to, but I haven't posted it. But there was like this review I was supposed to do. And it's so bad. It's so bad. But it's almost like I don't know if rebel is the right word, but I almost filmed it poorly on purpose because it's ridiculous. But then I haven't posted it because it's so bad.
Yeah.
I filmed it in the reflection of my microwave, which
it's beautiful.
But like my hope would be that people would see it and be like, oh, like it's like just making fun of how ridiculous this world is. But
yeah,
maybe it will be. I don't know. Who knows? It may just live on my phone forever. So there's that.
But that's it. Like you can't take yourself too seriously sometimes, you've got to be able to have a little fucking laugh, like drop a joke. And if you don't find it funny, great. Like keep scrolling, you know what I mean? Like just, you've got to be able to drop those jokes.
Right. That's what I hope people see it that way.
Well, if they don't, at least you do.
Yeah, there you go.
Suck it.
Right. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I have trouble with those things. I have trouble with those things. And maybe if I did it more, then it would become more routine and like I wouldn't be so uncomfortable with it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with all that.
Well, despite all that, I do still appreciate your time. And it's not been awkward in the slightest. So thank you very much.
That's a first. That is a first. That's probably one of the most awkward things if someone comes up to me and they say that they know me on Instagram. And it's always like, it's appreciated. Like, oh, it's nice. Like, of course, like it's nice, but I don't know what to say after that. Just like, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I try really hard, but awkward is like definitely the best way to describe it. 100%. Even with people I do know in person, like awkward is like definitely up there with how to describe me. Thank you.
Nah.
Even though I talk to people like for a living. Yeah.
Honestly, like some people, I'm like, hey, like, do you want to have a conversation and kind of record it and we'll call it a podcast, I guess. They're like, oh, I need to know the questions before time and, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, hold on a minute. Like, who the fuck do you think I am? Like, I ain't some sort of like interviewer. Like, Jesus Christ, we're just having a coffee and a conversation.
I did that recently and I almost over prepared and it wasn't on purpose, but I just got excited and I listened to every one of their previous ones, which was the same questions. And so then I accidentally answered almost like a huge chunk of them at one time. So like he didn't even get to like ask me anything because I just answered and I just told him my life story. without him asking. So that felt weird too. It was like, you never asked me, but I'm going to tell you. Oh, well. And it's just like, well, this is, oh, well.
See, there's a lot more professional people out there. Like, I'm sure, like, if they wanted to hear that, they would go somewhere else. I should name this podcast the Informal Podcast.
No, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't listen to any of them.
No. I don't expect that. Like, this is just a conversation. Like, that's all it is. Like, well, and it's like the same thing. Like, this is now the first conversation, and if I'm ever in fucking California, if you're down here and we bump into each other, we'll get another one with a coffee. You know what I mean? It should be the same thing rather than, oh, hey, can we sit down and like have an interview and tell me about your life and all that shit? I'm like, no, let's just like have a fucking laugh and a joke and make sure we have a good day and, just enjoy the conversation.
That's cool though. I appreciate it. It's different for sure, but easy also. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'm sorry for getting you up early.
No. I'm up anyway. Like, trust me, I don't want to think about how much programming I got to do because I think I'll start crying. But we're gonna start like a new 8-week block, and I've basically taken on a new role, and there was 2 weeks, so I've basically got to get the 8-week block done in a week, and then get the coaches on board in the next week, and then we start rolling it. Which, I don't know about you, but programming takes me fucking forever.
It does. And I'm just hoping that like the more that I do it, it'll get easier. But right now it's like I'm programming right now for a few different people that are very different.
Yes.
And so it does take so much. Like,
yes.
Right now I do hybrid CrossFit and weightlifting programming. And so for one person, it's like they're training for a specific competition, and they have these different needs. And he's also trying to do a lot more CrossFit. And then these other ones are doing a lot more weightlifting with a tiny bit of CrossFit, but it's way more weightlifting focused. And yeah, it takes me forever.
Especially like you got,
tough.
Like you said, different programs, different focuses. Like you've got to switch your mindset, and I find it's quite hard to be able to switch gears because you kind of then you have to read back of what you've already programmed and see what periodization you're in and like what part of it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now we go for this, and you've just wasted 15 minutes, and I'm like, fuck, this is gonna take forever.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it does. I'm hoping I can kind of streamline it a little bit more, like getting a few more clients that are more weightlifting focused, and it's just going to be that. And then I have like this other one that's more CrossFit. So we'll see.
But at the same time, like if you look back once it's all done, and then you actually see it played out on the dance floor, like it's so beautiful if it works out well. So I would rather put in so much time on the laptop, you know what I mean, for it to be right, rather than half-ass it and botch it, and then the members get a half-ass package.
Yeah, very true. Exactly. Right. That's why we do it. Right.
That's why we do it.
It's not for the money. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, keep telling ourselves that. Right. That's why we do it.
Right. I love it. But anyways, yeah. Have a great day.
Thank you.
So
you
much
too.
of your day left.
If you ever down in the bottom right hand corner of the world, give us a shout.
Yeah.
We'll throw down and grab a coffee.
For sure. Great.
Right,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Talking to you. All right. Bye.
See you later.